Like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, TravCon 2022 is upon us. On this episode, we talk about the history of Atlas MedStaff and TravCon with my friend and director of experience, Matt Loughran, or in this case, the Kool-Aid Man. Atlas All Access starts now. The Kool-Aid Man is a fun you can see Matt Loughran is here with us from Broken Bow, Nebraska. But the Kool-Aid Man is a fun stand-in because, quite honestly, Kool-Aid Man was his idea. Oh my gosh, how many years ago, Matt, was that?
I don't know, it'd be like 5 years ago, I suppose.
Probably. Yeah, maybe 6 years ago.
Yeah. There's some t-shirts spawned off it.
Yep.
Just a great backstory on the Kool-Aid Man himself. So
yep, and where all that came from. So Kool-Aid Man's a fun backdrop because Matt is at home in Broken Bow, but will be with us at TravCon 2022. And I thought, who better to talk to all of you about TravCon than Matt Loughran himself, who has been with me for 8 of the 9 Atlas TravCons. Is that correct? 7 of the 9? 8 of the 9.
Actually, this will be the 8
because we missed 2020 because of the pandemic.
Yep. So we've seen it come a long ways from the first time we went out there, and I'm sure you're going to talk about that. But it's been an awesome ride.
Well, let's talk about that. So in the very beginning, like what were we doing? And I can give you some background on. Matt would have been super early to Atlas at that point, just coming off of his retail career, coming into the travel nurse staffing industry. Even before his wife, Misty, was a recruiter with us, Matt was here first and kind of bought into what we do at TravCon, why we do the things that we do. And it was always deeply rooted in just thankfulness and being able to go to someplace like Las Vegas where we have the opportunity to sit down with all of you as travelers that are there, whether you're a traveler or not, and say thank you for what you do on a day-to-day basis. We can do it here all we want. We can do it on camera. We can do it through email. We can do it through text. But if we sit down across from you and we share a beer or a wine or a meal or whatever and say thank you, that's a completely different experience. And Matt, to his credit, bought into that from day one. Talk about that first time you were at TravCon and kind of the experience that you had.
When we went down there, I remember, I've gone to a lot of shows. I've been involved in a lot of that type of, especially in Vegas as well, with the industry that I was in. And so I was used to Vegas. I was used to, the hustle and the bustle and all that stuff. But what I wasn't ready for was the amount of travelers that were going to be in that one area, right? And so the neat part was, and I think it was hard to kind of wrap my head around, was these travelers and a lot of these recruiters have worked together for years, right? And have never seen each other besides on Facebook or some sort of social media, or, they could maybe, talk over their phone, but they've never met each other. And so when I'm sitting there in my mind, I'm thinking they all know each other. You've worked with this person for, 8 contracts. How do you not know them? And as I sat there, I look at them and they're meeting each other for the first time. And my takeaway from that was when we left that first TravCon, I realized that is why we're there, right? So not, the events and all that stuff are amazing and they're fun and it's a great way to meet your travelers and new travelers. But those relationships that you leave Vegas with are like unbreakable, right? Those bonds are amazing. And so that was probably the biggest come away for me as I left Vegas. And I remember sitting on the plane thinking, holy smokes, like half of our recruiters just met their travelers for the first time face to face, and they have a stronger bond and a stronger relationship because of that. So, I mean, that was probably my aha moment going forward. Like, what is our goal going forward, and how are we going to continue to build those relationships?
I remember multiple times where travelers met their recruiters and vice versa for the first time, and that first hug. It's magical. It's weird. It's so hard to explain that very first time those two people meet each other after being so connected, even like you said, for multiple contracts for so long, and they meet each other for the first time there in Las Vegas, and they share a drink or a meal or a show together, and then they walk the strip together or whatever. They're at the pool together or whatever, and it's just there's something super special about it.
I just talked to a recruiter the other day, and this is bonkers, but they had somebody that they met 3 years ago, okay, at TravCon, and that person just in the last 2 weeks reached out to them looking for a contract. They've never been able to connect for whatever reason. It never worked out. But 3 years, and where they met them was walking down the strip, and one of our folks had their shirts on, and they were chatting, and she said, "What are you doing? Like, why don't you come with us?" And so, sure enough, that traveler did. Again, they never worked with each other. It's been 3 years, and that person now is in the process of getting a contract with us. So this there's the longevity in this. It's hard to kind of like wrap your head around, like, what's your return on this? Holy cow, if you can play somebody, and you can work with somebody from 3 years ago and stay connected with them from this one event, that's priceless.
Yeah.
So those stories happen all the time.
Let's talk about the history of Atlas and TravCon. So in the very beginning, we worked with a very small group, because we were very small too, quite honestly, to do pre-show events, because TravCon wasn't nearly as big 9 years ago as it is now. Completely different. It's a completely different event 9 years ago as it was right now. And so a lot of it was predicated, a lot of the show was predicated on those pre-show events by outside of TravCon and the TravCon committee. And so we locked onto that, and we were participating in that very, very early on. And so building those relationships early as kind of as it grew was very important to us.
Again, this year, I think the conference starts on the 18th and goes to the 21st. Like Rich said, in the past, we would show up early, and we tried to build as many events in as we could prior to the actual conference itself. And we'll talk about the conference itself here shortly. But when we started, we wanted, again, to try to spend time with these travelers one-on-one or as a group, doing these cool events that they normally wouldn't get to do if they were at home or if they were on contract. So whether that was going to a show, or we went to Lake Mead for a few years. We had a lot of different events that we tried to include these travelers and really get the chance to meet them, because a lot of them, again, they brought their friends, or they have a new traveler that's just getting into it or thinking about it. So you had a lot of people showing up for these events that weren't part of the Atlas crew, but they were a friend of somebody. And so these events played a huge role in kind of the, I don't know, like the transition that we're making from, the parties and all the events prior to the actual conference.
Right.
And this year, the conference is going to play a much larger part of, our Vegas experience. So
and that is key to the transition, not only our transition, but the transition that the TravCon committee has made, and understanding people come out early. You go to Las Vegas, it's a Monday through Wednesday conference, but you're going to come out on Friday or Saturday or Sunday. You're going to come out and spend an extra couple of days. Why not come and do something with one of us, right? So we still hold breakfast on Saturday and Sunday. We still have a bus tour on Saturday and Sunday night. So if you want to go do something outside of the conference, you can do that. If you want to do something with the conference, there's a hike, there's a golf tournament there that we're all a part of, that we're a sponsor of, but they have really expanded into that. And we're taking advantage of that sponsorship through the platinum sponsorship that we're doing for the first time this year.
And we'll talk about the platinum sponsorship as well, but that just gives us access to, we're going to spend more time and have more people in the conference. We're going to do a lot during that 18th to the 21st timeframe. that the conference and TravCon has really, like you said, Rich, is have they put their time and they've really invested in a lot of these cool events to give the travelers something else to do, something different, something, the hike, the golf outing they've been doing, like Tricia Novak's been working on that for a long time. We want to help that grow. The hike for those people that don't want to go party all night and you want to do a cool hiking and have a great experience. That's all done because of TravCon. So again, we're just fortunate to be part of that event and one of those things that we sponsored. So and again, there'll be a lot of time climbing up the side of a mountain to get to know somebody and really to figure out like who they are and why they're there and hopefully build some great relationships out of it.
Yeah. Unless your name is Dolan Delano or Trevor Romine, you're not staying out till 4:00 in the morning, maybe, and living the Las Vegas life, right? Like those guys are living. If you're old guys like me and Matt, there is plenty of stuff to do during the day. Plenty. So just look for us and we'll have an itinerary here coming up very soon of everything that we're doing. So that brings me to what do you expect? So if you're going to go out, let's say you get there on Saturday or Sunday or, even on Monday and you're a new traveler, what do you expect? Our platinum sponsorship gives us the ability to connect with you on that special level, on that newbie level. They cater to new travelers like no other conference does. So if you're a first-time traveler and you're coming to Las Vegas for the first time, there's a different experience for you, and TravCon will take care of you. They'll make sure you're going to the right events, the correct sponsored events that you're supposed to be at, that are catered specifically to new travel nurses. There is a brunch. There is a reception. There is a... What's on the Wednesday has there's something going on Wednesday morning. Is there a brunch on Wednesday too, Matt? Is that right?
That's right. I thought it was the brunch, but we'll share all that out. And again, all this stuff is on TravCon's website as well, but I'll have to dig into that.
So there is plenty of events for you to do. There's plenty of things for you, sponsored events for you. So if you don't know, just go to the conference website. You'll be able to see every one of those events that's available for you to attend. That's an official sponsored event. Which brings me to just my opinion. Now, this is just my opinion. Here's my opinion. As much as I seem like an extrovert here, where I'm totally comfortable in front of the cameras, I have no problem with people, I'm an introvert at heart. And I love Las Vegas. I love the lights and I love everything about it. But meeting new people is very difficult for me. It's always been difficult for me. TravCon is a place where you, as a brand new traveler, or a traveler maybe that hasn't experienced everything there is to experience through a contract, through travel nursing life, to go and kind of experience that, because there are 100 other people just like you that are right there doing the exact same thing, who may be just as uncomfortable as you are, or as unsure as you are, or as nervous as you are to meet somebody new. And maybe it's not us. Maybe it's not an agency. Maybe it's your fellow travelers that you meet, but they're doing those exact same things that you see others doing right out there, that you think, that would be awesome if I could go do that. Like, that'd be super fun if I could make these friends, or if I could meet those people or go have those experiences. That happens at TravCon every single year in Las Vegas. Brand new people get involved that had never been involved before. Every single year I meet new people that quite honestly are just like me, that are introverts at heart, that don't necessarily feel comfortable introducing themselves in front of new people, but then all of a sudden they're in a group of 15 and they're going to, like we talked about before, like they're going to Lake Mead. You're not going to Lake Mead right now, unfortunately, or you're going on the high roller over at the link, or you're getting on a tour bus and you're driving up and down the Las Vegas Strip with people that do the exact same thing that you do every single day of their lives, but for 3 or 4 days out of the year, they can cut loose and have a lot of fun. And I look forward to this every single year and being a part of that, being the catalyst for it. And I know Matt feels the exact same way. We have 100 stories of travelers that come out of their shell for the very first time or introduce themselves, and then they're with us the whole weekend. We've seen that so many times.
One thing I'd like to add to that, Rich, is, for all of you watching this or you new travelers, just keep in mind that you decided to travel and you knew that a lot of this was going to be on your own, right? You're going to show up to a new city, a new hospital. If you are one of those people that's more of an introvert, like, you've already done the hardest thing that you could possibly do, and that's start traveling, because it is difficult and there's a lot that goes into that. So, we have like breakfast, for instance. It's amazing how many people will say, I'm just going to go to breakfast, and they show up by themselves. They don't have any friends, they don't know anybody, but they come over for breakfast, and by the time they leave, they know somebody, right? And they know what's going on at 10 o'clock and that we have something else going on. So just put yourself out there, whether it's with us or even just meet new people, jump in and enjoy it. And again, don't sit in your hotel room and don't, wait for somebody else to, show you around. Just put yourself out there. And like I said, we'll be around and we'll have tons of information about what we're going to have going on. We'd love to have, you involved. So looking forward to it.
Absolutely. We promise we will never leave you hanging high and dry out there, because quite honestly, I want to have as much fun as you want to have. Matt wants to have as much fun as you want to have. And we look forward to this every single year and being able to connect with all of you when we go out there, because it not only, like we talked about before, builds that relationship on the back end, but it starts those new relationships on the front end. You will not regret going to TravCon any year, this year especially. I think this year is going to be special just because coming out of the pandemic, last year was a little bit muted compared to other years. I think this year I'm going to need a vacation from our vacation, I believe.
I think it's going to be action-packed. I think there's going to be more people here than we're expecting.
Absolutely.
So, which is great. That's awesome.
All right. Well, I miss my friend Matt. He lives only 3 hours from me. I'm going to see him in Las Vegas next month. So I hope I see all of you in Las Vegas next month. Find us, find the hats, find the shirts. You will be able to find us. I guarantee you'll be able to find us. If you do not know where to go to start with the TravCon website, travcon.org. We're going to put it right here. Then come to our Facebook page, and then go to the Atlas Life Facebook group. We'll have all of our events scheduled right there. That's a great jumping off point for you. And then if you find other stuff from there, more power to you. That's what TravCon is all about. So we hope to see you at TravCon 2022 in Las Vegas.